Good evening and welcome to FTB Sports. This is the post-reaction show for the game Everton versus Spurs, fifth round of the FA Cup. And Everton won 5-4 after extra time. I'm joined by my guest who are as unhappy as me and as gutted as me. We have Darius and we have Gerard. Thank you very much for joining. I know it's late and I know we're disappointed, but this is all part of it. Win, lose or draw, we have to show our faces and we're doing so. Welcome, gents. Where do you start? I thought this was an FA Cup game. It turned out to be an NBA playoff game, but oh, it hurts. It does hurt. Gerard, do you want to give us your thoughts on it?
No.
It's not good, is it?
We should have had 3 in the first 15 minutes. We started well. I haven't seen us play like that since we beat Southampton. You know, pace, energy, zipping it around. The commentator was getting it right. I was thinking, here we go. And then when we scored, good. And then suddenly, I don't know, it just felt like they just scored. They weren't on top. There was no real pressure. They just scored. And when Calvert-Lewin went off, and Harry, you know, I thought this is it. And when we went 3 and then 4, yeah, this is all right. Good game. Well done, Everton. And, you know, I don't know. But Dele, he did one back heel in the however long he was on. Didn't do anything else. Number 17 came on. Can't run, can't pass. But overall, I thought we were on top. I genuinely thought we were on top. And, yeah, it'll be a tough night going to sleep tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a very, very tough one to take. Scoreline suggests that it was a game of mistakes from both teams. You don't usually see a Carlo Ancelotti team or a Jose team get conceding that many goals. And Jose must be absolutely pulling his hair out with some of the mistakes that were made. I'm like you, Gerard. When I saw the game start, I said, we've got a lot of energy here. The players looked up for it. They really were controlling the game, got that goal, and we were really in command. And we didn't get the second one, but I didn't see a way in for Everton. The only way they can get back in the game is we gave them a goal. You know, mistakes happen. But then to go 3-1 down, it was like, what's actually happening here? And it's probably going to take a little bit of analysis to have a look and remember some of these goals because there was that many. But I can't get into words how absolutely gutted I am by the fact that we got that goal back just before halftime and weren't able to go on and win the game in the second half. And I think we really should have been able to. Darius, do you want to give me your thoughts on the game?
It's not really much we can say, is there? The game was a wild game. I mean, when this is what I said. We got a bit of a group chat going on, and I said it 3-1. When it went 3-1, I literally said, "Are we in limbo? Like, is this actually happening?"
Somebody got something in the background. It's just a little bit of feedback going on. Has anybody got anything on in the background?
Is that working?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Still in the background. Go, carry on, Darius.
Yeah, no, I was just saying it's just I thought I was in limbo. It was a completely and utterly crazy game, and I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. And I think the only thing we can really take from this game, yeah, we lost and we conceded 5. We can look at the defensive performances, but then again, people like Sanchez, who maybe didn't have a great performance, scored 2 goals today. So we can look. I think we have to look at the players who are on the fringe, who want to kind of push that starting 11. We need to look at those players. And I don't think any of them, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, I don't really think any of them kind of said to Jose, hey, look, I've jumped into this team. We're in a bit of a crisis in this game. I'm going to take it by the neck and I'm going to be the person that makes a difference and gets us through. Not really any of those players really did that. And then just to say about Winks, I'm not going to get onto people because they didn't really play much, but Winks was at fault for that final goal. He decided to try and turn out on the edge of his 18-yard box. God knows why he did that. And the ball was dispossessed and look what happens. They go and score. So Jose will remember those things, won't he? He's not going to let those things sort of slide. So sort of things like that is difficult. No.
He won't let them slide. Definitely not. I thought Lamela, probably cemented a place in that starting 11 for me going forward. I think he was probably our man of the match, if you can say there's a man of the match for us when it's a 5-4 loss. But I would say he was probably our best player. We all know Harry Kane. We all know what Son is about. But Lamela, for me, really stood out in terms of being able to give that energy, give that drive, play forwards as well. That was the main thing. He was playing forwards. And Ndombele, again, a good performance. I wouldn't say it was an outstanding one from him. Could have done more. I think what happens with players like that is that they see the defensive mistakes and then they think, well, what can we do? What more can we do? We can't keep conceding goals like we conceded. Hugo Lloris was probably at fault for a goal or two there. Doherty was at fault for one of them, being out of the back line, looking across the line and not seeing his defensive. It was a bit of a mess, if I'm honest with you. Me and Darius was having a bit of a chat about Davinson. He's got a brace, but then he goes and done what he's done as well in the game. It's like, what do? You give him one hand and take with the other. It really is a kind of a difficult one for us to take. But we've got some more guests joining. I think we'll be joined by Marlon here. So Marlon, welcome. How you doing?
Right, I think.
All right, that's what I'm saying. We've got a few comments. Let me go through a few of these comments and I'll ask you for your overview of the game. And like I said, this is not going to be a long one tonight. I think we need to do a bit of a more of a post-match analysis. Errol Hurlock, what a great game that was. It was a good game for the neutrals to watch. I bet for both those managers, they'll be like, what is going on? FTB Sports, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We've got to make sure we do that. Stu Mac, what was funnier, Kane choking a huge chance to win it before Bernard or Jackie Weaver? Both were hilarious. I'm not sure what the last bit about there on that, but I just think that there was opportunity in that game for us to put the game to bed in the 90 minutes. Marlon, what did you think we did enough to win that game?
No, definitely. I think we did. It's just individual mistakes. And I just think also just a bit unlucky as well. I think
I can agree with that slightly. Yeah.
We can't keep having these mistakes though. Do you not believe some of these players? Like I said, we had Ali come on today. We had Winks come on today. Both of those players, they didn't do much. They didn't do enough to kind of.
That's not necessarily mistakes, is it? That's just. I think that's just down to the players.
What I'm saying is Winks didn't help himself. He gave that ball away for that last goal, as you said. Dele Alli, I saw him give the ball away and was making token trackbacks to get the ball. If you're trying to get yourself back into this team and into this squad, you make the effort. You show the manager this is the reason why. And there wasn't enough of that urgency when you're losing. And I always say this. Some players show me that they really wanted it. Hojbjerg, even though he made a couple of mistakes in the game today, didn't give up. He didn't feel sorry for himself. He actually wanted to win this game for us. We've got Harry Kane come on and scores a goal. He didn't start the game, but he still comes on and does what he needs to do. So those players can't be criticized for the way that they go about. It's the other players that are fringe players that are not giving themselves any sort of opportunity to get back into this. So yeah, sorry, Marlon, just give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think you're right with the fringe players. I don't think they're kind of doing themselves an injustice at the moment. But yeah, sorry, I'm just focusing on Weeks. I think he just killed me literally.
Yeah, it was.
I like him generally, but he was just too feeble in that whole attempt. Oh god, I don't know. It was a good game though. Quite positive. I'll take some positives out, but yeah. Move on to the next one. City.
That's the problem. How do you then? And so I'll ask you, Gerard. How does the management team now pick the players up from this, given the fact that a lot of our games in recent history over the last 3 or 4 games, there has been a lot of individual mistakes which has been costing the team. How does Jose convince, I guess, the whole squad that they are good enough to go on from here to then obviously compete in the Europa League and in the Premier League?
Focus on it wasn't a penalty. He didn't know he was there. He turned and he accidentally tripped him. And outside of that, focus on the first 15 minutes where it's as good as we've played all season. Focus on those intensive runs and the turns from Ndombele when he did it. Hojbjerg's strong enough not to worry about his mistakes or the accidental penalty and keep going. And as you've said, last night it was going to happen, and you were right. You know, Lamella, I thought he was as good as I've ever seen him play.
Man of the match again for me.
100%.
And Moira, he was putting them wide. He was there. He was here. A couple of little giveaways, but he was intent. Son, good. So there was a lot of positives. And as we said at the start, it felt to me like we were in control, but they just scored. It was weird. And but again, when we said it last night, we've lost to a team that only had 5 players on the bench and the 4th reserve goalie or something to make the bench up, and they bring on Bernard, who they were trying to get rid of in January, and that's worrying.
2 of their 3 main midfield were not even playing either. So
yeah.
And the other thing that really does get me in terms of them still being able to score 5 goals, the main goal threat in terms of Calvert-Lewin wasn't even playing for most of that game.
Yeah.
So
but was it a penalty? There you go. Was it a penalty?
What for the Højbjerg?
Yeah.
I don't think it was. For me, I don't think it was, and that I think it's only because he genuinely looked like he turned around and was already in his stride as it happened. I know that if you want to look at rules objectively, he tripped him up. Yeah, but this is where the whole context goes in. And also, I think the commentator made a good point on the stream we were watching. He said if that decision wasn't made, so if the referee was to say no penalty, it wouldn't get overturned. However, there was a similar incident with, was it Lamella who went down, where the same thing happened, where if Lamella was to go down and the referee was to call for the penalty and they were to give it, it probably wouldn't be overturned. But because he didn't give a penalty, there's not a clear and obvious error, so he's not going to turn it around. I think that is inconsistency in itself, and that needs to be sorted out, because at the end of the day, that's going based on the referee's decision. And if we are going to put it solely down to the referee, then we've got to blame the referee for not spotting that, don't we? But for me, it was inconsistent because I'd seen the same thing almost happen to Lamella, and he wasn't necessarily awarded a foul for that. So I don't know. Again, you have to look at it either objectively or subjectively. I think with common sense, looking at it with common sense, it wasn't a penalty. But if you want to look at it as rules, he tripped him up and it was in the box. So
the thing though, and I'll just
Lloris could have saved some of the goals.
Oh, Lloris was at fault. The thing I'd say about the penalty though, it didn't knock us out completely. I thought it was almost going to be really a killer blow for us, being 3-1 down. But to come back 3-2, we're still there. We're still in the game. We're still giving it all. And then not to take advantage of that with the main player in terms of the goal scorer not being on the pitch. That's where, for me, it's like, how can they still score 5 goals against us? But I mentioned this before about the defense. I said those 2 players together, Davinson Sanchez and Alderweireld, cannot play under extreme pressure. As soon as there's pressure on them, they fall apart in terms of their communication. They fall apart in terms of their positional play. And then the rest of the back line, Doherty's he's not on form anyway, so he's beginning to make a few errors in terms of being in position. Ben Davies was probably the most solid person at the back today. And I thought he had a good game, and he's had 2 really good games in a row. He's now our only left back. He's probably running on empty, so he's going to be a bit of a problem come the game for the weekend. There's going to be something that needs to happen in terms of these players playing under pressure and being able to eliminate serious errors from their game. Lloris was definitely at fault for a couple of them goals for me. I'm just going to go for a few minutes comments and I'll let you guys have a bit more of a say. City will walk all over Spurs on Sunday. Also play an extra 30 minutes tonight as well. It's going to be a tough game against City. Don't get me wrong. It really is going to be a tough game. Raheem, great show, lads. What's needed for your team to cross that line and get trophies, and what players go in the summer? Is the manager in the convo to go? Darius, I'll let you start that and we can ask the others as well.
We've got 2 options. We've got 2 opportunities now to win a trophy. We're in the final of 1, and the Europa League is going to be very, very difficult to win. I think we can if we go all out. But again, I look back to my earlier statement way at the start of the season. What do I want out of this season for Spurs? And I said to myself, Jose Mourinho is my manager, and I was complaining all last season about the way we played. If we win a trophy, I won't care. So I said, whatever happens, let's win a trophy. So for me, if he doesn't win a trophy, there's no reason to keep Jose Mourinho in Tottenham, in my opinion. He's been given 6 players to basically push for this. It's not even a title. He's not pushing for a title. So it's not like he's got to bed these players in for a title push. He's pushing for a trophy. He's been given the Carabao Cup, which is, let's be honest with ourselves, has been a pretty simple, I would say, apart from the Chelsea game, pretty simple run to the final. We've had our first challenge in the FA Cup and gone out to it. We've not got a challenge in round of 32 game in the Europa. So I expect to go a little bit deeper. For me, I'm looking at our goals for this season, and that's one mark that we can't achieve now. So he's got 2 chances left for me. And I think if we continue playing how we did, like Gerard said, that first 30 minutes was really promising. If we play like that, and we don't necessarily maybe win the Europa League, but we win the Carabao Cup, then I might see a little bit of a reason to keep Jose in for next year if we win something and we continue in playing well. But if we continue to not play well and we don't win any trophy, I would like somebody to tell me why we would even think about keeping Jose in the managerial position.
Yeah.
So today, just on that second part of that question is, what does the team need to do to cross the line? Because I don't think the manager was at any.
No, I'm not blaming him.
There's obviously some blame. You always got to have some. The manager's accountable for these players. However, he can't be responsible for some of the mistakes that were made out there. So Jose is going to look at that and think to himself, how can players eliminate that error that they've got in them? And it's not just one player that's been doing it. We've had Dyer do it. He's not been playing. You know, Sanchez has been consistently doing that. Lloris is always known to have some errors in him. You know, Alderweireld doesn't look like the same player that has been playing for us over the last 3 years. So there's probably a lot of changes that need to happen. But I still think that we need to have this trophy to kind of almost cement and tell ourselves as a club that we can actually cross this line. You know, Joe, what's your thoughts on that part?
The trophy point's right. However, Mr. Mourinho needs to know and think about what's gone on his watch. You know, he brought Højbjerg in. We might struggle through and get the Carabao Cup. He brought Doherty in. Look what's happened to Doherty. He's not even, you know, he's not a left back. He's not a right back. He's a wing back, and he's not in the right place. You know, he let Vertonghen go. What's gone on with Ali? What's gone on with Dyer? Who knows? And all of this.
Does he have to take responsibility for that, do you think?
Well, I think he does. And, you know, I was thinking before the game tonight about Rodon and who he brought in, and he's played 4 or 5 games.
And he's better than our centre-backs that are playing.
Yeah, where was he tonight? And, you know, and I think Alderweireld's probably, he's missing his mate Jan. You know, he's not been the same since Vertonghen's gone. And, you know, and Sanchez, 2 goals, and he did well on the second one. He did well on the header, but he did really well to put the second one in because he was getting pulled back. And Winks, you know, 6 months ago, Winks was a starter for England. And he's not even going to get a mention now for that midfield for England with everything and with Delhi. So on that question, it's a lot. This is on Jose's watch, and you know, at this point, you know, the Carabao Cup would be great and would be amazing, and that might just save him. You know, but I think he's definitely in that conversation.
Yeah, it's a hard one for me because I can understand why he probably kept the defensive lineup that we kept from the previous game. You know, a clean sheet. He hasn't been able to keep a consecutive, really combined back four, I guess, that's playing regularly. He's chopped and changed. I was never comfortable with Sanchez and Alderweireld as a partnership, even though, you know, they kept a clean sheet at the weekend before. I'm never comfortable with because I know what they're like under pressure. I've seen it from the West Ham game, and since then I've always known how they're going to respond. We need to be 2 to 3 goals up for them to be playing really comfortable. Once the pressure's applied, there's too much mistakes. Now, does the manager take responsibility for still playing these players, even knowing that? Because they must see that. They must go through all of these games. If we can see it, and if I can see it, and you guys can see it, they must know. So is it a case that they're playing the best of a bad bunch, or should someone like Rodon be starting, or do we need more reinforcements in the summer? Marlon, do you think we need more? Obviously, I think we obviously need more reinforcements in the summer, but what sort of player do we need to bring in that's going to, you know, get Spurs to this commanding position that I want us to be in as a club?
I think first and foremost, if Mourinho plays how he played today, he can stay.
Exactly.
It's true.
And Marlon,
Like
and this is the Marlon that was like,
Brighton.
this is the Marlon giving some real pelters out to Jose. Sorry, go
No,
on.
it's true. No, but when he's negative, when he plays negative football and just sits back, it frustrates me because we shouldn't be playing that style of football because we got the players to play positive football. Like I don't mind losing today because we played alright. If we played like
I say it doesn't hurt as much. You're right. It doesn't hurt as much.
Mad. Huh? Say that again.
It doesn't hurt as much. You're right. Even though we're out of a cup, it doesn't hurt as much as Chelsea does.
No, it doesn't.
Chelsea hurt.
Yeah.
We do need some new central defenders. A couple players need to go. I.e., your weeks is. I wouldn't say die. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh.
We just need a few reinforcements. But as I said, if he plays how he played today, yeah, he's alright.
But this is the point now. Jose's gonna. This is if I'm thinking like how Jose would think, he's gonna think, right, I'll let you guys go out and play this real attacking football. The moment I do that after the West Ham game, because that's when he stopped it, you conceded 3 in that West Ham game in the last 2 minutes, and now you've conceded 5. What do you do as a manager who's a very defensive-minded manager? He's just gonna think to himself, and when he analyzes the game, he's gonna think, what can I do? I don't want to be playing too negatively.
The jury's out for Bergwijn.
Yeah, you might be right.
God,
yeah. I think you're right on that one. After tonight's performance, his contribution, and I think you've mentioned this before, Darius. Effort should be a given in any footballer who's playing. He makes effort. He runs around. He does a lot, but he hasn't scored many goals. He hasn't assisted many goals. So what's he in the team for? Just to give us energy? We can't just have that as being your mantle to be in a team. You have to contribute. Same reason for Dele Alli not being in a team. He hasn't given anything. He doesn't give any assists anymore. He doesn't score any more goals, and he doesn't really make any effort. So that's the easy decision for him. Winks again. He scored that one fluky goal that I remember in the was it the Europa game when it just kind of from the wide area. What else has he done?
He scored that side. Who's he scored that side-footed goal against? Just outside the box. Wickham. That's it. He scored against Wickham.
Wickham Wanderers. That tells me.
If you look at so Carabao Cup, we had the lowest ranked team, Brentford, and we beat them.
Yeah.
The FA Cup, we had the lowest ranked team, Marine, and we beat them. And then I think Wolfsburg are the lowest ranked team in the Europa Cup.
And we'll probably beat them.
We've had, if there was ever a year to win something, this is it. And as soon as we hit, a top team like Everton, who had a weakened team with no one on the bench and no James and all this stuff, then we concede 5 goals. But in answer to that question, Jose must have had a say about bringing Bale in. Yeah,
I think he just sanctioned it. He must have just sanctioned it.
And where are we? And tonight, if there was a game that he could have had like Delhi, had 10, 15 minutes to make a difference, and he wasn't even on the bench.
Yeah. I'll go through a couple more of these. I'll let you have these. So I'm just going to go through a couple more of these comments. So we got Tipper D. Hi, Tipper. How you doing? Do you think you will still win a trophy this season, guys?
The North London Cup.
Yeah, I was going to say, realistically, St. Totteringham's Day might be the only trophy that we're going to...
No, I am not having that. No, we are winning a trophy this season. We have to.
I don't know.
Yeah, let's stay optimistic. Yeah. We've got a final, so anyone can win a final, can't they? We beat City twice so far, so we can't rule ourselves out. My only thing, just on the whole attacking, Jose and attacking football, we lost 5-4 today. We'll lose 1-0 another day. To me, that's no different, in my opinion. 5-4 and 1-0 is just it's the same goal difference. You still conceded 1 less goal than your opponent. So if we lose 5-4, I'd much rather lose 5-4 than 1-0, honestly. And that sounds crazy because I'm thinking about Leeds and being a Leeds fan and having to concede four goals maybe one week and score 4 goals another. But I actually am not that angry. And that's because we played well and we looked like we were going to score. And I think that really is the be all and end all, but it can save a manager's job if he manages to sort of play a good style of football, I think.
Can I just say something? There's playing well. I don't believe we played well today. I think we played attacking. There was too many errors to say that we played well. You can't concede 5 goals to a team that has their best goal scorer off the pitch for most of the game. Do you know, I see that as being, we've changed the way we play. We changed the approach to the game. That's great. And I think Jose has had a lot of battering from the fans, from the press, probably even from some of the players to say, why don't we go attacking? And now with the players that are on the pitch, this shows him exactly why he has to set up in certain ways, because he's not going to try to play like this and be coming off with goals like what we conceded. Some of the goals that were conceded today were awful, really, really bad. And, you know, as a team that wants to win something, you can't play like this and expect to beat them top teams. If we played like that against City, given the opportunities that we give to Everton today, because I think they had something like 20 shots anyway, and 12 or so on target, whatever that was.
I didn't know it was that many. Maybe we didn't play as well
We
as
scored. We had more. We had about 26 to 27 shots. That's
we
not
had
the point.
50 corners, didn't we?
We were playing for corners at one point.
Do you know what I mean? We played attacking football, and this is very similar to what you said about the Leeds thing. But if you conceding at the other end, it doesn't matter how many goals you score. If you're going to make mistakes like how we did today and concede, let me go back to some of these comments. Let's go back to some of these comments.
29
I'm at
shots.
29.
Wow.
We had,
The big difference with the Leeds scenario is Bielsa's turned Bamford into a top striker. He's turned Harrison, who was I think a City reject, wasn't he? You know,
I think he's still on loan, isn't he? I think.
He went to New York and he came back and all of this sort of stuff. He's made these guys, you know, top players. He's used that this a bit like the Moneyball scenario where he's what are they good at? Let's get them in and make them a solid team. And I go back to on Jose's watch. We're either too defensive. We go 1-0 up, and how many games have we lost or drawn when we should have won? Go back to Newcastle. Go back to West Ham. Go back to tonight. Dare I say? You know. So going absolutely going.
Gutting indeed. A few more comments here. So Errol Herlock again can't see Spurs winning anything this season now. It's going to be tough. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be tough. We're in a final against Manchester City. So that's in April. A lot can happen between now and April. So it's going to have to be what the team's like, how the team's performing. Sorry, Marlo?
I think we can pull it off.
I think we can. I think the reason I say that is because City and Jose, not so much City, but Pep certainly has a little bit of not an issue, but we've been decent against City in the last few games that we've played them. And certainly with Jose at the helm, I'd be more confident if it was somebody else because he knows how to win finals. The problem is going into that final, what are we going to be like? Who's going to be available? What are City going to be like? Are they going to be so high up in the league that they can just focus on this game? Where are we going to be in terms of Europa? Where are we going to be in the league? It's all dependent on what's going on. So again, it's going to be difficult. Someone having a bit of a laugh here. FA Cup is possible for Spurs. Thank you very much, Bossman James. That's really nice of you to say that. Everton on paper is a good team. Underrated, I think he's trying to say. Mr. Silver Fox here. Evening, gents. Good evening to you. Welcome again to the show. More comments here. Not being funny, but how can you see anything but upset at losing? How can you be anything but upset at losing and being out of the cup? Why are you happy with just how you play? Demand more. Again, I think that's a bit of a tongue-in-cheek comment there because I don't think we're happy. I think we're trying to pull holes in what we're actually trying to say for the team.
I just think it's a case of that 3-1 came out of nowhere. I'm not going to lie. Some of the mistakes, the keeper mistakes were a little bit bad, but really and truly, I didn't even realize it was 3-1. I blinked and it was 3-1. And to say that they got back into it, we scored a goal at halftime. We scored another to make it 3-3 at 57 minutes. I can take positives because I've seen players and Jose do something I haven't really seen him do, or he would take until the 80th minute to start, like against Chelsea. We had about 5-6 shots after the 80th minute. At least I didn't see that. At least I saw some sort of, do you know what I mean, intent to kind of win this game. And I think we can take from that and we can build on that. Even though the individual mistakes were detrimental to our result, I do think that overall we did play well in that first half. Again, those 3 goals were just crazy and we could have avoided them. But I think it is a bit unlucky. Like Marlon said earlier, I did think we did get slightly unlucky. And again, we could blame not having Kane in the starting lineup, but we can also say that Everton didn't have a full strength team. But I'm trying to look at positives. I'm in a much better place than I was against Chelsea, and we didn't really lose anything from losing to Chelsea. Exactly. So I think I can take more positives from this loss, even though it was like we conceded 5 and we're not in the cup anymore. But I can take positives from this loss. I can't take any from Chelsea though.
There are positives to take, but I think there's a lot more questions to be asked of our defence than there is to probably answer about our attack, because I know we've got the attack. I don't doubt that for 1 minute. Maybe they've been kind of conditioned to maybe thinking a bit more of a defensive counter-attacking option, but it shows that when the handbrake is taken off to a degree that we can go out and score. As I said, I keep going back to the point about this. Jose's done this before. He can play attacking football. Everybody gets his fact that Jose is all defense, he's all defense. No, he's a tactician. He plays how he sees teams. He plays to see the best way to get a result out of a match. And today he probably thought the best way to get them out to get the result this match was probably to be a bit more offensive. But you can't legislate for individual errors. There's nothing you can do to say, right, if this happens, we can defend it. If you make a mistake, then we do. You can't do that because you can't put that sort of information into players. You have to deal with it on the day. I think he made substitutions in the right way. We certainly brought players on at the right times, but given enough time to play, should I say. But did we bring the right players on? I don't know if we did in the likes of Winks.
That was a double A injury, though, wasn't it? I think the Winks one.
Probably was. Yeah, so we are struggling without that. Gents, I'm going to come around the I guess the table as such and just give your last thoughts on the game, and obviously just a little bit on the game for Saturday. So, Gerald, I'll start with you at the top.
Focus on the positives, and I thought that first 15, 20 minutes, I thought we were amazing. I thought we could have had 3 or 4. I think that Harry will always give us what he gives us. Sonny gives us what he gives us. If Ndombele's okay, we scored 4, and start working tomorrow morning on those defensive errors and shore that up. And I think that let's focus on bouncing back. City, obviously, as much as it breaks my heart to say, look incredible. I watched their game earlier tonight, and that was their reserve team, and they still looked incredible against Swansea. So if Ndombele is all right, and Harry's on form on Sunday, let's hope. And I think the psychological side of Jose against Pep, I think it's the psychological thing with Pep where he'll sort of hold back a little bit against Jose's team. So we've done it this year already. We've done it in previous years against City, and let's hope we do it again on Sunday.
This will be a parking 2 buses job on Saturday. This will definitely be a parking 2 buses. Marlon, your last thoughts on the game itself, and obviously looking forward, I guess, if that's the right phrase, looking forward to Saturday.
As I said before, if you've watched Spurs a lot this season, you'll know that today's performance was better than a lot. That's why we're happy not happy we lost, but we're happy with the performance.
Yeah.
As long as you try and you put in the effort, you can lose. So that was the answer.
You can lose. Okay.
Yeah.
And what's your thoughts on Saturday?
I don't really expect much, but I want him to win a league. I don't really know no Man City fans, so I'm not really bothered, to be honest.
Okay, well that's all right. I can see. As I said,
Liverpool fans are popping out of everywhere, talking a lot. So
yeah,
not anymore.
Okay.
Not anymore.
Okay, yeah. Darius, do you want to give us your final thoughts then on today and obviously the game on Saturday against City?
I think, the game today, we're all disappointed. I know the FA Cup. For me, I would rather win the FA Cup than the Carabao Cup. A trophy is a trophy for Spurs fans, but if we had to be picky and choose, an FA Cup looks better and looks nicer. It's more prestigious. But for me, when I look at Tottenham, it's outcomes and it's going into the future. And we can take from this loss a lot more than we can take from the Chelsea loss. And we can use that to kind of build on this second half of the season and potentially do something that we haven't seen for a long time. And on the Saturday's game, it sounds bad, but it's kind of a write-off for me. I would rather see him start with a slightly weaker squad. Maybe Kane starts, Son doesn't. I don't think this game is necessary for our... It doesn't do anything for us, in my opinion. I think the table's now sort of... It's getting to a point where we're seeing where teams are. There's a little bit of a gap being made between the top 4 teams. I think if we can compete and put in a good performance against City, great. If we don't win, I'm not going to be mad. If we get battered again, I'm not going to be that mad because quality-wise, City can batter anyone, like we said. So I think we should take from this game and use it to build on the more important games coming in the future. Because I don't think this Saturday game has too much importance. But
okay, I don't think we can do. Starts on though.
I think he will, but I personally, I know what Spurs looks like, and knowing that we've got important games in the future, knowing the people down the road are coming up in the next 3-4 weeks as well. I would rather see a full fit team for that, and maybe because obviously players have played a lot over the past week now. They played 120 minutes in this game. Some have played 90 in the last game. So I just take it a bit easy on the weekend. That sounds really bad, but
it's a big game next week. Wolfsburg's a big game.
There's more important games to play in the future. I definitely believe that.
I understand what you guys are saying. I understand all of that. The problem being, if you look at the last 5, 6, 7 games, we haven't had a lot of victories. I know the mentality for Jose. I don't know him obviously personally, but I'm seeing the mentality. He now wants to win a trophy. So this was a game that he wanted to win. Obviously, this team was strong enough to do that. I can see us not chucking the towel in terms of the league, but almost, as you guys have said, maybe starting a slightly weaker team, but focusing on these cups. But you have to win the games now. You know, the Europa is a round of 32. You still got to get to the round of 16, then the 8, then the 4 to then get to the final. That's a lot of games to be played, as it's 2 legs as well. He's taking a little bit of a risk, because if you can't keep the level of performance, and I agree with what you're saying, Marlon, the performance was better in terms of attack, but it wasn't better in terms of the result, and it wasn't better defensively. So there's some work that needs to be done, whether that's personnel changes, whether that's to try and get this bit more settled. I think there's work to be done.
Down to individual mistakes, though. With the
you
goals.
do, but surely.
I don't know if you can.
Too many.
I do.
Too many.
Yeah, I do, but do you know what it is? There's Joe Rodon on the bench now. I've seen him play. He looks more assured at the back than all of our defenders currently. He's made mistakes, but he's coming in from a championship team, playing at Spurs, being thrown in certain games. But then he's made mistakes, kind of been allowed to play, but then taken out again. You've got to let this guy play. He looks like our most assured defender. He's one of the biggest. He can win headers. He's good on the ball. Let him be almost like one of them centre-backs and stay in the team with all the others around him. But not having him, he's not in the Europa squad, so he can't play against us for us in the Europa. So that doesn't make any sense.
A really odd decision by Jose.
We're now out of the FA Cup, so he's not going to get a cup run. It's now the league or the final. So where are you going to play him if you don't trust him in the league? You're not in the Europa Cup. So these are the sort of things that I'm kind of like, that's down to the manager for that sort of aspect of it. As you said, you cannot legislate for individual mistakes, and I just need the team to have some more confidence. So I would take probably a very counter-attacking Jose team on Saturday, maybe even to pull out a draw. I know it sounds bad now, but I can't see us winning that game from an attacking perspective, but we can do a job on them.
15
we've done
games
that
they've won on the bounce. 15 games. They've
I
won.
would take a 0-0.
I would take 0-0. It's one of those.
Already you can see that sort of stat does not look good for us, given that we conceded 5 goals tonight. Yes, exactly. So think about that when we're going to sleep tonight, gentlemen. And breathe again. Right. Thank you very much, all of you. Gerard, Darius, Marlon, been a pleasure having you on the show. We'll see you all again soon. Like, subscribe, share, comment. We're on the road to 500. We want to make sure we get those numbers up. So if you can, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for us. For that, when we get to 500, we're giving a free shirt, football shirt of your choice, number on the back, name on the back, all the rest of that. But we need to get those numbers up. So please like, subscribe, share, comment with your friends, Facebook, Instagram. All of our addresses are down at the below, links in the description and everything like that. So FTB Sports, thank you again, gentlemen. We'll go out with this.